Welcome back to another episode of the Boston College Hoops podcast. In this episode, I will be joined by one of the returning members of the Boston College men's basketball team, Jame Karnik. This is a two-part interview, and in the first part, James discussed his busy basketball schedule during the summer and what his basketball journey was like growing up in British Columbia, Canada. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy. Hey James, how's it going?
Good.
And I appreciate you taking the time to come on again.
Yeah, it's all good.
Now that you're officially back as an Eagle, how are you feeling? How's it feel to be back for next year?
It's been good so far. It's been a lot of fun just getting to bond with the new guys on the team. Getting after our workouts, lifts. Just been killing myself, but it's been a lot of fun. It's a great feeling. Like sports-wise, it's a great feeling when you start getting back in shape and as your body starts feeling better, you start jumping a little bit higher, running a little faster, hitting some tougher shots. So yeah, definitely.
Can you briefly just take me through your daily schedule?
Yeah, for sure. I'll take you through our week. And obviously this is going to be a little bit different during in season. So we'll have we'll probably do 2-hour practices, but in the summer the amount of times that they have us working, it won't allow them to do 2 hours practices. So we usually practice for 1 hour. So for Monday, we have a lift at 8 a.m. and then we'll have open gym, which is a pickup, 5v5, within our team. And then me personally, every night I try to, during the week, and then on Sunday is my off day. I personally try to get in the gym at least once, either on the gun or kind of go through little post routine that I have. That will probably be around 9 p.m. So we have the lift at 8 a.m., the open gym at 1, and then my lift or my workout, and then sometimes I lift afterwards. Tuesday we have lift at 9 a.m. and then we'll have individual groups. So it'll be bigger guys with bigger guys and smaller guys with smaller guys, and that's at 11:30. We have lift on Wednesday. So we pretty much lift every day, but sometimes on Tuesdays and Thursdays it's more of a kind of a conditioning. We do little small exercises, so we'll work on stability for our ankles to kind of injury prevention, and then we'll kind of run, we'll go on the football field and run. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday we're actually pushing weight. And so yeah, we'll have another individual group at 11:30 on Wednesday with the lift at 9 a.m. Lift on Thursday, 8 a.m., and then team practice at 2 p.m. That's just another, as a whole team we practice. That's usually a lot of getting up and down, doing stuff in front of the coaches, going through some drills. And then on Friday, we lift at 8 a.m. and then shoot at 9:15. And then, yeah, every day I do get in once extra just because I feel it helps me improve, being able to do the stuff that I want to do. And, here and there I'll get in my own kind of lifts. So if I feel we did a really heavy upper body portion on one day, maybe I'll get in there and kind of do some more leg exercises on my own. And that'll probably be more in the nighttime because I want to give my body some time to recover. So around 8:30, 7:30 to 10, 11. That's usually when I get in.
That's crazy. You guys have you're going all day with different activities and stuff.
Yeah.
You say you're running on the football field. Is that more endurance stuff, or do you do sprints, or a mix of both?
That's a great question. So the running on the football field, we do the full length of the football field, and at my old program, Lehigh, would be more doing sprints, but here it's more cardio stuff. So we go around 80% of your speed. So if you really, and this is where it's kind of different because it's not timed. Usually the condition I'm used to do is timed. So it's making sure you work. So realistically, if you didn't want to improve, but you're Division I basketball athlete, everyone usually wants to improve, you could theoretically go pretty light. I mean, not super light because the coach would see it, but he says 75 to 80% of your max speed. So you're getting a good lung workout, but you're not killing yourself. You usually get a pretty good sweat. And so we'll do that 12 times. So we'll run one walk across, do another 100. So we're running across the football field around 12 times, like straight into it. So you just walk across and then you run. Yeah, that's it gets my lungs going a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they do it this year, but in the past, have you done any like summer leagues?
Yeah. So in the past, I did this Seattle Pro-Am, and that was a lot of fun. I forgot what teams I was kind of playing for, but like BC doesn't really, or like where I'm from, British Columbia, doesn't really have too many teams in there. They have like a few, so usually I go in with like a Seattle team. That's been a lot of fun. Usually when you're at school, you don't really have any time to do any leagues, so you might hop in with some pickups in there here and there. But you just kind of heard my schedule, so when you're doing stuff like that, you don't really have time. Like you can't be like, hey coach, I got a game at 12. I can't make that team meeting or something. That's not really acceptable. So yeah, you can't really do that.
Yeah. So like when you join that Seattle league, is it like you individually like playing with a bunch of other kids, or like does your like Lehigh team like all play together in that league?
That's a good question too. So no, usually it's just me individually, because we have people all over. Like at Lehigh, we had people from Chicago, some people from Pennsylvania. So like you couldn't really do it all because it's only in Seattle. So yeah, it's usually kind of play individually. You find some people with a connection who like wants you on the team. And I kind of like it that way, because at least for me, when I did the Pro-Am, like I just got to be the guy. Like every time I'm getting the ball, every time I'm scoring, like because I'm like the best player on the team. So like it's more fun with that. When you kind of do team stuff, don't get me wrong, it works more for building for your games in the future. But like you can't be super selfish with that, because like, you're gonna bother your teammates. Like, okay, you're not passing me the ball, I'm not gonna pass you, and then it just creates issues. Obviously, that usually doesn't happen, but with this, it's like, okay, I worked all summer doing all this stuff. Let's implement that. I worked on my shot so much. Let's implement that in a kind of game format, right? Where it's not serious, like where it's not like you need it for for a series or school or like win a championship. It's just kind of lighthearted.
So what's like the main thing you want to accomplish, or your just overall main goal for the off season?
Yeah, for sure. So this off season, I've been working on my shot a lot. Like I said before, I usually get a workout at nighttime, and mostly, unless I have a lot of energy, then I'll kind of do some like post stuff, like where I'm getting up and dunking a lot and doing stuff off the dribble. But mostly, I'm just putting up a lot of shots. And I have kind of like a shooting routine that like I keep track of, like how long it takes me to do it roughly, because I'm using the gun. So sometimes the gun, if a ball goes out, you might have to go and get it. So that might take 30 extra seconds. But I'm keeping track of how long it takes me to do it, how many shots I'm kind of taking, just to kind of see the progress. And then obviously I'm setting new goals to accomplish that. So yeah, definitely been working on my shot a lot, working on being more explosive, jumping higher, working more on my drives, the explosiveness on the drives. So, I felt like I was good driving, but getting there faster, beating the defender faster, and being more under control when I'm driving. That's kind of a lot of core. And yeah, so that's some stuff that I've definitely been working on this summer. When I'm with my trainer back home, we work on all sorts of things. We work on a lot of post stuff, a lot of shooting. We do some ball handling, and that's good because it's a lot with like he gets some kids that play defense. That's making me work on different finishes. So going out and finishing, yeah. So definitely that's what mostly I've been working on.
All right, so before I ask you any more questions about your college career, I want to go back to you growing up a little bit. So
Sure.
You had said before that you started playing basketball around like third grade. Right away, did you know like ever since you stepped on a court, were you always like the best kid out there? Or was there like a certain age that you started becoming like the best kid?
Well, I wouldn't say I was the most talented kid when I was like at that age, like second, third grade. I would say one of the things that I really had over most kids and just most people, like even now, is I'm just a very competitive person. Like even with my friends, like when we play video games, like if I'm dominating like my friend at a video game, like I might give him one or two just so, he's not going home like all like down. But if it's like a game that like we're serious about, like I'm in it. So as a kid, it was kind of a similar thing. Like I would just be diving on the floor, like ripping the ball from kids and stuff like this, like at a young age, which obviously is making those extra plays. And if there's a ball and there's me and another kid and there's a ball, like I would do whatever I could to get that ball before he gets it. So that results into winning, right? So I definitely said like that would be something that I noticed. And obviously just doing that and having that high intensity kind of makes you a better player. So I would say yes to that question just because, like, yeah, I was better. But I wouldn't say it's because I'm out here, like, crossing kids. And then, like, I think it's just because, like, I sheerly just wanted it more than other kids. And I was a little bit taller, and I was stronger. So I had that over them. But it's just mostly just me wanting it more than them.
So growing up in like a huge hockey country, did you ever have an interest in playing hockey, or did you know that basketball was the thing you wanted to do?
No, I went through it all. I went through a football phase. I played volleyball, but I never really wanted to pursue volleyball. And I definitely went through a little hockey phase and even like soccer, but I never got to my mom didn't even entertain the soccer when she's like, and the hockey when she's like, I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. for you. We're sitting in basketball. They have reasonable hour practices. But for hockey, what I did do is I played like floor hockey, which is like underneath the ice, there's like a concrete. And so sometimes when arenas don't have their ice or like they take out the ice or they're refreshing it, or even do it on like basketball courts or something like that, they'll set up 2 nets and you kind of play hockey on that. And I did that. It started off with actually like in the 5th grade, I did like a team. And then I got on like another team for like the 7th grade. And yeah, it was just something I really enjoyed. It was a lot of fun. But I never really like pursued it. But yeah, I watched a little bit more hockey too around that age. But my team, so Vancouver Canucks, made it to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2012, and they lost in Game 7, the finals, and to Boston, mind you. So I hold a little grudge to Boston right now. So whenever I see someone rocking a Bruins, my stomach just holds a little disgust to that. But to Boston, and so after that, it was just so like it just shook the whole province up, and I couldn't bring myself to watching hockey again. It took so much out of me. So yeah, after that, like I kind of stopped watching hockey. I kind of kept up to date with like how they were doing, but I couldn't watch hockey anymore. So yeah, and that's probably where my hockey like love ended right there. And then I would say, yeah, so the 7th and 8th grade, I was more focused on basketball. But like I said, I was doing other sports. I went exclusively basketball my sophomore year. So in my junior year is when I went exclusively basketball, because I did do volleyball my sophomore year. Yeah, that was just a decision that I was it was tough. Like my 9th grade, my freshman year, I was playing football, volleyball, basketball, and club basketball. So I would literally sometimes walk from my volleyball practice to my basketball practice, just change from my volleyball. Actually, no, I just wear my basketball shoes for volleyball because you don't need specific. So I'd be just all dressed up, all sweaty. They'd be warmed up. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go and do that. And that would be hour 45-minute volleyball and hour 45-minute basketball. And that's actually, I credit that to how I started dunking consistently, because I was just jumping so much every day, doing so much sports. And then when it came to school, I couldn't do stuff. Like I would have an English paper. I was like, well, it's only a 1 page. Like, why don't you do this? I was like, well, after class, I had to go to volleyball for an hour and a half, or I had to eat. Then I had to go do volleyball an hour and a half, hour 45, then basketball for an hour 45. And then school ended at 3:30. So add that 3.5 hours and the eating, it's like already at 8:30 and I got to go home, shower. And then I'm practically needing to get ready for the next day. I don't have time to do all that stuff. So, yeah, it was just crazy. So, I enjoyed doing all those sports, but at some point you got to kind of, yeah, just start limiting yourself. But I would encourage like any younger person to not focus on one thing, because if you aspire to be a basketball player at a very young age, that's great. Then definitely have that in your mind and keep those goals. But if you limit yourself to basketball and you put so much stress on basketball at a young age, it's very hard to keep that passion for it. Like I see a lot of Division I players who, some kids think that they made it, they're already burnt out. They don't want to get into the gym anymore. They don't want to work out anymore because they've already either from their parents or from themselves, they put already so much stress on basketball. They don't really have that same love for it anymore. So, and then just playing at college can do that to you a little bit too, because you have to wake up and do these practices. There's no, if you want an off day, there is no off day until you get a designated off day. Like sometimes in season, you'll go 14, 15 days straight. So it can make people just be like, wow, like this is a lot, like this is a little overwhelming. So you gotta, even for someone who loves it like me, I'm just like, wow, like this is a lot. Like I'm really gonna have to like push through this like next couple of days. So I would definitely say at a young age, just do stuff that you find fun. So if you find playing football fun, then play football. If you find playing volleyball, soccer, whatever, it's fun. And the better thing too about that is it builds other muscles in your body. So soccer players have like a lot of great footwork. Basketball, you need to have quick feet in many scenarios, like playing defense and stuff. If you have quick feet on defense, like you're going to be a better defender. So even if you aspire to play basketball at a younger age, I would still kind of entertain things that you find fun. You don't have to pursue. You don't have to be like that hard kind. Okay, I'm gonna have to work out for an hour of soccer my own now and do an hour of basketball and then do my practices. No, like you can still, but just do what you find fun. Because at the end of the day, like I said with volleyball, like I just found volleyball fun and it helped me jump higher. I personally think like next thing, it messed up my footwork, mind you. I was traveling so that probably wasn't the best. But luckily, I wasn't taking basketball too seriously at that age where it was like a big problem, but like I felt like it would make me jump higher. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was gonna say, like, just playing these other sports, you don't even realize like you're doing things that benefit you for like other sports. Like you said in volleyball, like you're just by like playing the game, you're able to get like more hops and jump higher for basketball. So
Yeah.
like at what age like did you start playing AAU basketball? Because I know around here you can start as early as like 4th grade.
Yeah, so I probably played AAU, yeah, fifth grade. Yeah, fifth grade, and there was like a tournament out in Vegas that I would go to, and yeah, it was good. My only problem was I don't have the greatest memories of that AAU team because parents would pay obviously for their kids to go to Vegas and all this big experience. It was equal playing time. So like I described in a difference, I may have not been the most talented, but I was very competitive and wanted to win. That was my strength. And because of that, I was one of the better players. And I can only do that if I'm playing. So having equal playing, oh my goodness, was like torture for me. We would be out here and like we'd be like a close game, and I'm like, oh no, it's the time. It's like every 4 minutes we get subbed out. I'm like, oh no, I'm about to get subbed out, and it's just like, oh no, just sit on the bench, get quiet, and just okay, fine, I can go. Just so yeah, I probably played around the 4th grade, and then yeah, I just kept on playing ever since then. But like that wasn't really competitive. Like I said, equal playing time. I didn't play like competitive AAU till like the 9th grade is when like it started being like, okay, like 9th, 8th grade is like, right, okay, we're actually playing the guys who deserve to be out there, right?
Yeah. So is AAU like not as popular in Canada as it is in the US?
I don't think AU is just not popular. It's just basketball isn't as popular, and something that is definitely growing constantly. But yeah, it's just tough because um, there's a lot more in America. There's just a lot more attention to sports. So not until practically the end of my junior year did I really realize I was going to play Division I sports, or even not play, even had the possibility. Because coming from my area, nobody really plays Division I. There's probably five Division I athletes right now, and only two of them are starting, me and one other. So it's very tough because you don't really see it as a possibility. I remember my dad didn't really kind of think as a possibility at first because nobody was doing it, right? But now that this kind of growing and people are seeing, we're having kids go in Division I and all this, it's definitely becoming a little bit more popular. And then there's more marketing. Obviously, social media kind of helps with that too. But just I would say I could even notice it when I was at tournaments. People go, "Oh, you're tall, you play basketball? Oh, that's so awesome!" But that would never happen to me in my hometown. Never. People didn't really care if we played sports or anything like that. So, yeah, I think sports are just a little bit more idolized in the U.S. than in Canada. So that's kind of why the AAU is not really as popular because, it's not really as competitive there.
So was there a player or multiple players that you looked up to growing up, or you wanted to be like them when you got older?
Not really, if I'm being honest. I don't still to this day, I watch a little bit. I'll probably watch the finals game today, but I don't really watch too much NBA. I keep up to it. I know I know who's doing well. I know who's kind of doing bad, but I don't really watch games. And it was kind of similar to that. I like that. My first time playing or watching game or games on television was we went to a family vacation, forgot to where, and the TV just was playing Clippers reruns, and so me and my brother were just kind of watching these Clipper reruns, right? And yeah, that's kind of who we was. So then obviously we both kind of became big Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan fans, and Jamal Crawford. So yeah, we kind of really like the Clippers, but that's because we're only kind of exposed to them. And then as I kind of got more into the basketball scene, I got more exposed to that. But I never really had a wow, that guy's great. I never really kind of idolized a basketball player like that, and wanted to be like them. Sometimes when I watch now, I'd be oh, that's a good move. I could kind of try to learn that from him and kind of imitate that and try to do that similar thing when I play. But I never really try to model my game. Hear how Kobe tried to model his game after Michael Jordan. I never really try to do something like that. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to this week's episode of the podcast. Be sure to stay tuned for part 2 of this interview, which will be released next weekend. You can also follow Boston College Hoops on Instagram to get the latest news and updates about upcoming episodes in the podcast. Thank you and take care. Welcome back to another episode of the Boston College Hoops podcast. In this episode, you'll hear part 2 of the interview with one of the returning members of the Boston College men's basketball team, Jame Karnik. James discussed what it was like playing basketball during the pandemic and what his expectations are for this year's team. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy.
So now I'm gonna transition back into like last season. So what for those of you who don't know, like you had to sit out the first, was it 2 games?
It might be like 4 or 3. It might have been 4
Oh really?
because no, I was more. It was more. So we went to Bubbleville twice. The whole first time we went there, I didn't play at all. And then we came back. So it might have been 4 games. I just saw 4 games, yeah.
So what exactly happened with like that waiver that made you not allowed to play?
Oh no, that was just a crazy process. I think well, at first my coach didn't know I wanted to go for the waiver, but like me, I really didn't want to have to wait. So the waiver process was a little bit delayed. And then I was working with compliance here to kind of get it in, and they thought the best idea was to make sure that we covered all our ends and then just guarantee it when we send it that it goes through, rather than sending it, having it bounce back, and sending another one and having it bounce back. But the problem with that is it was such a slow process. And so like we didn't end up sending it out to like practically the beginning of November, or I don't remember practically when, but like maybe October-ish. So it takes some time to process this. No, it's probably November because I think it took a month. And then I think I started playing. Actually, I don't remember. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, I was constantly waiting on it. I didn't really know when, and yeah, that was kind of a tough way to start my season because as a player, you kind of get yourself ready for the games, and yeah, I kept on trying to stay positive, and then just didn't come through, and then literally the day before or the day on the game, we were at shoot around and against Florida, and my coach was like, "Stop the practice!" Like, oh, like James is good to play now. I was like, oh, and I was on the practice team for that because I was. What you do when practices, you have the playing team and the practice team, and I was trying to help my teammates get better, right? So I was on the practice team, helping them get better. And then he's like, "Yeah, you're good to play." So I wasn't doing any of the plays, anything, but yeah, it was still a good experience, but it's just kind of harder to kind of mentally prepare for that. But I feel like I started the season really, really strong. It wasn't until our team had like some COVID issues and some other issues with the team that like I kind of saw my performance drop a little bit. But I feel like I started this season really, really strong for how much I was playing and stuff like that. So yeah.
So like how frustrating was it knowing, because a couple of those games at the beginning of the season were really close. So like knowing that, if you were out there, it could have changed the outcome of the game. Like how were you able to stay positive and like keep going, like keep a fresh mindset when you know that like you could have changed the outcome of a game?
Yeah, that definitely sucked for sure, because this is where we try to set the tempo for the year, and it definitely, there were some times it's like shoot, and then like it was harder to stay positive. I just kind of keep telling myself my time would come, and then I start kind of taking it one day at a time. Just okay, you're not playing today, just do what you can do to get better. So like at the bubble field, so mind you, the day that I did play, I lifted every single day that I was there. So like I lifted like 5 days straight, which like we're talking like moving weight. Like I said, like even our schedule now, we lift like 3 times and then like do like kind of like lighter lifts on other days. Like I was like going hard every day. So like I was tired too. So but I thought, hey, like you're not playing this year, so just get as strong as you can and all this stuff. Yeah. And then, so I think that just kind of helped me just kind of like take it slow, because if I kind of kept on thinking like, whoa, when will I play? Stuff like that, it just would have ate me up too much. But, and then when you kind of ask, like, looking back now, it doesn't really affect me because the way our season was, but then too, like, yeah, it was a little tough. It was almost kind of giving me more reinforcement that like, okay, my team can really use me though. Like, oh, we got blown out on the offensive boards. I can stop that. I know I can do that. So Yeah, I think that part didn't eat up on me too much because other than just like losing, I just kind of like showed that like, okay, they have a need for me for sure.
So you guys had like two different COVID pauses and like a bunch of games canceled. So were you able to like practice at all during that time or no?
No, I was in the hotel one time and then in a dorm at a different school. I forgot what the school's called dorm the other time, and I think I quarantined for a total of 18 days. And within that time, yeah, I just kind of used the resources that I had to just try to get as better as possible. Luckily, the second time, um, I was working out in the gym, and I got the call like, okay, yeah, you have to quarantine. So I grabbed a basketball and took it with me, so I was able to kind of do some ball handling and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, that was a tough time too because like you don't have any of the resources that you really have. I was able to prepare a little bit more the second time, so I brought like some bands with me. I kind of had like a plan of like, okay, this is what you're gonna do. Um, but yeah, that was tough, man. Just not being able to move like that too kind of takes a toll on your body because you go from like go 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 to okay, you're gonna stop for 18 days, and like my back started stiffening up a little bit, stuff like this. So it was just really hard to get back into it after that. Um, and then even before that, we had like just some like protocols and stuff like that we had to go through, and that was kind of tough. Like just in the winter, like we had to be in a hotel room for the whole winter for like a month, from like December 27th to January 23rd. And there's some stuff just going through with that, which is really kind of difficult to get to drive to campus, kind of ruined my routine a little bit. Basketball's a very big sport of like rhythm. So like, yeah, that kind of messed me up a little bit too. Um, but yeah, it the COVID part. I'm just, let's just say I'm happy, and I'm hopefully that we won't have to deal with practically half the stuff that we had to deal with last year because that was I only played 14 games from a regular season's like 32. So yeah.
So did all those protocols and like other stuff you had to follow, did they ever like take away from like the focus of the game? Because like all that stuff has to be like going through your mind when you're like in game or like just having to deal with all like the masks and all that stuff.
Yeah, it definitely can. Like I can remember like this one Notre Dame game where like I was trying to really stay engaged, and like I'm over here cheering and stuff. And I'm like standing up, and I'm like trying to tell them like, no, sit down and put a mask on. I'm like, oh, okay, and like it kind of takes you out like that way. But during the game, like when you're playing, you usually just focused on the game and stuff like that, right? It can kind of, I think the biggest thing that COVID did, it really throws you out of rhythm. So like when you're trying to get into the gym and stuff, like sometimes the gym's getting sprayed or this or that, and what I would have wanted to do to help me kind of succeed, I wouldn't be able to do. And that's kind of like we were lifting in like a weight room in the hallway. Like we didn't really have like a weight room to work out at. So it was just a really interesting experience like that. So yeah, that's what I'd say was the biggest kind of struggle with COVID. And then, having to worry, get testing and the stress about getting testing. So you don't really do much with your outside life because you don't want to be the guy that gets positive. And yeah, it's just, yeah, no, not the best for the mental health when you're in quarantine or not able to kind of, when you're worried about quarantine too. So yeah.
So although you said you only played 14 games, did you have like a favorite game that you played or like one that like
Yeah,
was the most
definitely
memorable?
the Syracuse game. That was a lot of fun for me. I would have, it sucks because I think our coaches kind of knew that they were on their way out and fired. So they kind of wanted to give some time to the guys that they recruited. But I really liked our last game against Duke too, because I felt like I could really do whatever I wanted on the floor, but I just didn't really get to play that much. But the Syracuse game was a lot of fun. Like I was getting a lot of touches, and then I was converting on them, and yeah, just that was a lot of fun.
So I know there are a lot of like challenges and obviously with all the COVID stuff to deal with, but is there any like positives you would take away like to bring into this year?
Hmm. Positives. I would say some good things that I can just bring into this year is it's a new year. A lot of guys transferred, and I know some fans might think that's a bad, but I take some positive out of that. I think the people that we got here want to be here. I think the new coaching staff is great for us. They're great staff. They know how to push us, know how to make us work hard. We got a good lifting guy who's getting us strong in the gym. So I just think the positives, maybe not from COVID, but it just I know what this league is about, and I know what I can do to succeed in it, and that's pretty much what I can kind of take from there and just go with what I know.
So what like specific aspect would you say from the Patriot League to the ACC is like the biggest change or like the hardest as opposed to what it was?
The biggest change I saw was I don't know. The ACC is a very interesting league because mid-major teams, because they don't have all these like NBA first round, like sometimes they will sometimes get them, but they can't count on having guys like that. They're very defensive oriented. And so I'm always getting hit on box outs. I'm always when I was in the ACC, there were some times when I was playing against teams, I'm like, wow, like this is an easy offensive rebound. And it's just like, okay, thanks. Like I think there's a lot more ego in the ACC. There's just it's a lot more offensive oriented, less sets, more just catch the ball and go, and it becomes more of a track meet rather than basketball game, just guys trying to run and dunk. The Patriot League was very, okay, we're going to set up in your defense or we're going to set up in our defense, you set up in your offense, and let's go at it. And obviously, don't get me wrong, if there's a bad miss or something or a steal, there might be some transition. But like, and in the ACC, they're trying to push the transition every single time. There could be 5 guys back, and there's still somebody sprinting at you trying to get the transition. So just a little bit faster pace of play. But no, I definitely think there are some things I can use to my advantage in the ACC to kind of help, just like the way I play and stuff like that.
You came to BC knowing that it would be the best opportunity for playing time. So now that you're here, like what else does it give you that you didn't know or like that you enjoy that it offers?
Well, I like BC in the sun on the summer. This is some nice, like, although it's been kind of thundering recently. I definitely the vibes that it has some good summer vibes. It's nice weather. It's really green. Some other benefits are just like Boston College. I just like the attributes to the basketball program. So like, we have a nice ice. We have a good recovery facility, able to get in shots a lot. They definitely have more perks for basketball players that Lehigh didn't really have. That I definitely really come to like. Just the fact that we don't really have to bus anywhere. We're able to just fly on private planes. This is a lot better. At Lehigh, we had to bus like 6-7 hours sometimes. It'd just be awful, but yeah.
Knowing that this season, you have a whole new coaching staff, like 8 out of the 13 guys transferred out. So what are like your personal and just team goals for this season?
Ooh, I mean, for team, I definitely like last year was atrocious. It was the first time I was on a negative record team. Usually I have more wins than losses. So, and then being bottom of the league, that was crazy too. So I definitely, seeing the talent that we have, I definitely can see us having a pretty successful year. And I know the coaches, I have faith in the coaches that they'll know how to kind of implement them and use that. So I definitely, my goals is, I want to, especially my last year, I want to be in the tournament. I definitely think we have the right mentality of working hard and doing that. So yeah, I want to at least get like top 7 in our league, top 8. And then me personally, yeah, I'm trying to have a good year, trying to show up with how much I worked. Like this offseason is by far the most I've ever worked. Like I'll get like 3-4 hours a day and just going at it. So I definitely want to kind of see that work that I put in here, go to work, like show. So, and we have some pickups that has been kind of showing a little bit, but yeah, I definitely, want to be a big factor for the team. I want to help the team win. I want to lead the team with rebounding and just do the best that I can do is pretty much what I got for my individual goal.
So last year's schedule eliminated a lot of like the smaller schools that you have at the beginning of the season. So do you prefer that, like with it's good competition like every night, like Minnesota or Florida or these different teams, or do you prefer like starting with the smaller schools and getting some of the rust off at the beginning of the year and then getting into the harder competition?
I wouldn't even say so much as getting rust off, but I just think you need some time to play with your teammates and kind of, because we didn't even have any exhibition games last year. So I would definitely kind of say playing those kind of lower level teams or something like that allows you to make mistakes and allow you to learn from mistakes without getting blown out. So I definitely kind of prefer that way. At Lehigh, sometimes I was like, wow, this season is very, very long. Like they should eliminate some of these. But kind of playing only 14 games is definitely not it. I think my sweet spot of how many games there should be is probably around like 25, 26, 27-ish. So probably still like 5-6 games over, but that's all fine. But I definitely prefer it. And then also, first game of the year, we're playing Dartmouth, which I have a friend who we play high school basketball together. We still talk a lot. So it kind of gives opportunities for that too. So I'm definitely, I like the idea of being able to play these other teams. So,
Based on what you've seen so far, like what is this year's team going to bring that was different from last year?
I think we're going to be a lot more defensive focused. So last year, we were not defensive oriented. Like I think a little bit of the issue that we had was just the mindset of a lot of within the coaching, within the players, was we can just outshoot teams. And you're not going to win games out shooting teams. So I think something that we're going to bring this year, and just kind of it's been stressed upon by the coaches too, is you have to be able to guard. Like you have to be able to play defense, and that's where we're going to earn it. And like I kind of said, playing mid-major, that's how you play. And I think now that we have a mid-major coach, he's going to implement that. He's like, okay, we have to guard. We have to focus on this. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to be a lot more tougher defensively. I don't think we're going to be a team to give up. I can admit right now, I definitely think we had some guys on the team last year that were fine with just giving up. As long as they kind of scored, they were like, okay, we've lost, that's fine. I don't really kind of see that this year. I think we have some good competitors on our team this year, and I think we're going to bring a lot of energy. We're going to bring some real toughness on defense and offense, and yeah, I think it's going to lead to a really good year for us.
So now I just have a last section of just like for fun questions. So they're like rapid fire, and so just give me like the first like word or first answer or name that comes to mind when I ask the question. So funniest teammate.
Currently?
Yeah.
Oh, Devin McLaughlin.
Favorite thing to do outside of basketball?
Ooh, eat sushi. All you can eat sushi.
One day to work out with a current NBA player. Who is it?
LeBron James.
Favorite sushi place? What do you order?
Oh, you don't want to get me started with that. What do I order? So much. I got the spicy tuna rolls, California rolls, dragon rolls. I gotta get my soups. I gotta get that's pretty much what comes to mind now for now.
Favorite movie?
Ooh, Focus with Will Smith.
Favorite NBA team?
Not my favorite NBA team, but I like watching the Lakers.
You pick first in an inter-squad scrimmage. Who do you pick?
Ooh, as a big, I always like to pick a guard that can set me up. So I'm either picking Kai or Jame.
Favorite song?
Favorite song? Ooh, You Gonna Learn by Eminem and Royce.
Favorite restaurant?
Yamato. Yeah.
Favorite class at BC?
Ooh. Favorite class at BC. I've been taking all core classes here, so they've been tough. Which one did I kind of enjoy more? Oh, I like business law.
Worst place to be a visiting player?
From my whole experience or at Boston College?
Just your whole experience.
I would say Drake. They had a lot of like people that just messaged me.
Winter or Summer Olympics?
Summer.
Most memorable basketball moment?
That's tough. I'll just go for this year. I'll say 20 on Syracuse.
Favorite sport besides basketball?
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna give you a couple. I like swimming, paragliding. I like volleyball, football. Yeah, I think let's give it that.
Favorite vacation spot?
Cabo San Lucas.
And just for this last one, you're down by 1 at the end of the game with like 10 seconds left.
Yes,
Walk me through like who's on the court and what are you doing to score the game-winning basket?
Okay. 10 seconds left. Okay, so who's on the court? It's me. Let's go Makai, Fred. Ooh, that's tough, man. We gotta play pickup a little bit more for me to. I would say DeMar. I think I might need another shooter out there. I'm gonna go Jaden. So I'm gonna go stagger screen, Fred first, me second. Jaden in the corner, DeMar in the other corner. I come off second. Makai tries to come downhill. Fred pops off the first stagger screen. Jaden spots up for a corner three. DeMar cuts to see if it's open to the hoop. And then I roll. Just see what it's up like that. If it's there, throw me the lob. I dunk it.
So before we finish up, I have to ask you about the helicopter ride you posted a couple days ago. So how did that come about?
That was on June 17th, and my birthday's July 17th. So my dad kind of wanted to do like an early, because I'm going to be here. My birthday's in 6 days. So my dad just wanted to do like a little birthday thing with me because I'm here. So he kind of said, he's like, I really want to do something memorable, like we can go and go to a beach or something, but it kind of will blend in with some other memories. And he's like, what are some things that you kind of want to do? And I was like, all right, I'll kind of think about that. And then kind of later on, he was talking about how my grandparents did like a helicopter trip. And I was like, oh, a helicopter, like I've never done that. That sounds like so much fun. And then he's like, oh, like that's what we can do for your thing. I was like, wait, what? And so yeah, he ended up getting that organized, and that was amazing. So we ended up, it was really close to my house. My house, there's a lot of mountains, so it's about like a 40-minute drive. And they take you on a helicopter. They fly you around these mountains. Mind you, it's summer, it's super sunny, but these mountains still have snow on them. And so we ended up landing on like this big rock, and I was like, it was kind of on an angle too. It's like a rock like this. And he's like, oh, we're landing there. I'm like, wait, we're not landing on a rock. Like, so we ended up landing on this rock on top of the mountain. Like there's the points where we're kind of here, but there's kind of like a little lake where it collected some water, and we landed there. And my dad and I kind of had the plan beforehand, like, we'll make it more memorable. We'll jump in this freezing cold lake. And so we jumped in there. Oh, it was so cold. It was literally like glacier water because like it's so high. The altitude just makes it so cold. And then we jumped in there. And it was awesome. It was such a great experience. It was really just kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little afraid being in a helicopter just because you feel everything, like every little bump. Like it's like airplane turbulence, but on a whole nother level. Like you just feel like how the best way to describe it is like you're a little fly. So you know how if you were to see a fly kind of blowing around you and you blow at it, that fly is going to go. That's how you kind of feel at a helicopter. Any gust of wind, you're kind of going with it. Like it's, yeah. So
what's the next big adventure?
That's a great question. I kind of want to go off. I want to go jumping off some waterfalls this summer. I love doing that. I've done that in the past. So at hometown, this place called Lynn Canyon. It's actually kind of known by like people who are really like adventurous. I didn't know that. I just thought it was like a local home spot, but apparently like it's known by like Americans because like, oh yeah, I've heard that. But Lynn Canyon, there's some waterfalls, and there's just like a trail of waterfalls. You jump off one waterfall leads to another one. I've done that before. I think that's the next adventure for me. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. So
yeah, it was awesome. Thanks, man.
Best of luck this year, and go Eagles.
Yeah, I hope to see you at some games though.
Thank you all for taking the time to listen to this week's episode of the podcast. Be sure to follow Boston College Hoops on Instagram to receive all the latest news and updates about upcoming episodes in the podcast. Thank you and take care.